In the cleaning industry, reestablishing connections with former clients can be a powerful way to boost business growth and rebuild trust. Today, we speak with a seasoned business coach to discover practical methods for winning back those previously valuable lost clients. They're valuable again if you can get them back. We'll talk about understanding why clients leave to effective outreach strategies, and our guests will share key approaches for addressing past challenges, showing genuine value, and reigniting that lost loyalty. To do this, I'm pleased to welcome Troy Harrison, frequent guest and an expert on today's topic. Troy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me here.
Appreciate your time. Troy, we talk about getting new clients all the time, marketing, onboarding. We want to keep them, but sometimes they disappear. What do you think? Share some thoughts on why this is such a valuable topic and what those watching can do to get those lost clients back on their client list.
Every company has a reservoir of what I call the lost business inventory. These are people who used to do business with us, and for whatever reason, they don't do business with us anymore. But they are people that have done one of the most important things you can do, which is cut a check with your name on it. That's one of the hardest battles to get any company to do is cut that first check with your name on it. These people have already done this. The problem is that they're no longer cutting checks with our name on it. And there could be a variety of reasons. Could be something that we did wrong. It could be something that was an internal change at the customer. A variety of things. But one of the best things that salespeople can do, and upstream of that, that sales managers can manage them to do, is reach back out to that lost business inventory and try to recapture them. Um, but here's why people don't do that. And the biggest reason why people don't do that is a four-letter word that starts with F, and it's not the one that immediately came to your mind. It's fear. Fear is the obstacle of all good things happening in selling and in business. And look, I've been there before. Somebody tells you, and I've been that salesperson. You start a new job, somebody says, "Well, here's a list of customers that used to do business with us. They don't do business with us anymore, and these three are people that we've made mad, but go ahead and reach out to them, see if you can get them back." That's a little scary. You're kind of going into the great unknown because salespeople are human. We hate to hear negativity. And you're thinking, okay, what if I pick up my phone and I get reamed by this customer? They decide that this is a great time to take another bite out of us. Hey, that somebody's calling from ABC Supply Company, and I'm still not done with being mad at them over the last time they messed up. So I'm going to take another bite out of this guy, whether he had anything to do with it or not. And that can be very scary. But the first thing that the salesperson has to do, and again, upstream from that, management, ownership, the first thing that they have to do is let go of that fear. The customer has already left you. You are already not getting business from them. Nothing worse can happen to you from that. They're not going to send a hit squad over to your office to take you out. They're not going to come by and egg you when you get into your company car. Well, I hope not. But the downside of calling these people back is okay, you might have to hear a little bit more negativity. The upside is you might end up recapturing a customer, and that's vital. So the first thing the salesperson has to do is get rid of that fear, realize the worst thing that can happen still isn't that bad. And so we're going to go ahead and have this conversation with them. And then the second thing you've got to do is find out why they left. And in some cases, that means let them vent. I've called customers that left 5, 6, even 10 years before, and they're still mad about what happened. And at that point, you've almost got to be a little bit of a therapist. You've just got to sit back, let them vent, let them get rid of whatever negativity that they have. When people vent about something bad that happened, usually they let go of whatever it was that happened. People need to be heard. People want to feel heard. And if you allow them to feel heard, and by the way, while they're venting, you do have to listen to them. You can't just tune out. You've got to listen to them. You've got to make expressions of empathy. Uh, And honestly, in some cases, you've got to encourage them to continue talking. Well, tell me more about that. And this runs completely counterintuitive to what most salespeople are taught, because most salespeople are taught that we want to get details and extract all the pain that our competitors have inflicted, not that we have inflicted. You might as well go ahead and have your customer, your former customer, get it all out, because once it's out, and they can release most of it. Now, they still may have some negative feelings. They still may have some apprehension about moving back into a business relationship with you, but they've released that negativity. That's step one. Step two, and this is hard. By the way, all these steps are hard, but this is really hard. Step two is you got to fall on your sword. Step two is you have to recognize that you are the object of the blame because you work for this company. Okay. It here and here is where the sales instinct, not even the sales instinct, the human instinct comes into play. Because you want to sit there and go, well, that wasn't me. I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't even work here then. I wasn't even there. Wow, that was the customer service department. That was the production department. That was shipping. Those people suck, but I'm great and I'm here to help you. When you are a representative of a company, you take the blame for the entire company, not just yourself. You are accountable for the actions of the whole company. And by the way, I'm framing this in terms of a new salesperson calling somebody back that they had nothing to do with. But this applies too, even if you were the salesperson of record when whatever bad happened, happened. You have to be willing to take the blame. When you pass the blame off, you actually harm your customer's ability to trust you because they think, okay, this person isn't taking accountability. So fall on your sword. I'm sorry that happened to you. Boy, did we screw up. Well, we made an epic mistake back then, and I am so sorry. And we will do everything we can to improve our policies, our procedures, our service to you. And if there is some concrete change that you have made, like for instance, you know what? We don't have that shipping policy anymore. We fulfill orders differently now. Let me explain what it is. And by the way, you probably don't want to hear this, but we actually learned from your mistake to benefit customers going forward. It's okay to say things like that, as long as it's we and not me and not them. When it goes to me and them, that's when you create serious problems. You keep that distrust going in your customer's mind. So fall on your sword and then ask a question. I understand that that harmed you. Are you willing to talk about the resumption of a business relationship? Are you willing to even entertain that? You'd be amazed at how often customers are going to say yes, even if what they have vented their spleen about and what you have just fallen on your sword over is pretty large. It's amazing how often customers are willing to say, yeah, you know what? I'm willing to talk. Not mad anymore. And you don't know, maybe their current vendor is screwing up too. But ask the customer if they are willing to discuss the resumption of a business relationship. That's important. Don't just plunge forward because they might not be willing. And if they're not willing, all you're going to do is piss them off even more. The next step is a make good. I don't know if well, you're in media. You're probably familiar with a make good, but a lot of our viewers probably aren't. Is trying to make something right from a promise that was unfulfilled. It's a term used in media and advertising a lot.
Hmm.
For instance, let's say an advertiser buys a spot on a TV show and the TV network promises them, okay, this is going to reach 2 million audiences. And for whatever reason, the program lays an egg and it only reaches 1 million audience, 1 million in audience. Well, they've fallen short of their promise. So what that network will do is offer a make good. Okay, we will give you an additional spot on this program to try and make it right. So offer up a make good. And the make good, the size of the make good needs to be somewhat proportional to the size of the problem that you've caused. For instance, if you created a problem that has caused $30,000 in downtime costs for the plant, that $20 box of candy probably isn't going to get it done. Maybe you need to do a credit forward on future invoices or something along those lines. I'm not a fan of doing refunds for past work, but I am a fan of issuing credits for work to come because that does revolve around the resumption of a business relationship. And if the incident is small, the make good can be small. Man, tell you what, I'll bring in lunch for your people as a gesture of good fellowship to make it right. Sometimes that will suffice, but you've got to make the make good somewhat proportional or equal, not necessarily equal, but significant in terms of the problem that you have caused. Here's how I'm going to try to make this right with you, Mr. Customer. Will that help? Yeah, it'll help. Okay. Now you can go into reestablishing a relationship. Well, let's talk about all the positive things that occurred while we were doing business, because this wasn't the only thing that we ever did. So tell me about some of the gains that you had while we were doing business. Go back and resell your company, resell your product, rediscover needs too. This is a great time to go back and re-ask a lot of those questions that you might ask when you're first starting to do business with companies. Understand their needs. Their needs may have changed. Understand their needs. And from this point forward, really, you're approaching it almost as a new customer sale. Ask new questions about needs. Present to them as if you're presenting to a new customer and you're trying to persuade them from ground zero. Represent, repropose, and reclose. But the final thing, the the underpinning of all of this, don't get into a contest with your customer. Don't get it. You don't win arguments and you don't win contests with your customer. There are some things that happen in the past that are so bad that they're never going to talk to you again. They're never going to entertain doing business with you. I had a sales call once many years ago where I walked in and I was asking these questions and I asked them what happened and they said, "Well, you guys sued me." That's a little tough to get around. And that's when I asked the question, "Are you willing to have a conversation?" He said, "No." He said, "You're a nice guy, but no, we are never going to transact business again." Uh, and there are some things that even hurt feelings. It depends on the person. Even hurt feelings can cause a situation where they say, "I'm never going to do business with you again." When that happens, don't try to butt heads with them. Don't get into a contest. Hey, appreciate your time talking. I wish you continued success in the future. If you ever change your mind, I'd love to hear from you. And then here's one more thing. Stay in at least loose contact with the customer because here's one thing, decision makers change jobs. Sometimes they get promoted, sometimes they leave the company. And usually when a decision maker leaves a job, so do most of the bad feelings that they had about their vendors. When that contact changes, now you want to position yourself to try and get back in. So this is the process for trying to win back customers. Will it work all the time? No, but I will tell you this. Your win rate on lost business inventory is probably going to be higher than your win rate on brand new business because it's always easier to go back and try and find business in people that have done business with you than it is to go out and try and find brand new business. And I encourage salespeople, this should be something you do on an ongoing basis. You should be reviewing your lost business inventory at least every quarter, and going back and recontacting those that you think might be in play, where you can. Stay in contact with these people on social media, on LinkedIn. You'll find out about new developments with the customer. Keep an eye on their LinkedIn feeds. You never know when somebody changes jobs, gets promoted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Use that as a tool for trying to keep track and figuring out the proper time and the proper opportunity to get in the door, get back in the door, I should say. But if you do that, you will regain some of this lost business inventory and you will have more success.
Troy, I think I agree with at one point, especially if you sue somebody, yeah, it's a tough sell to make. Unless maybe you're trying to get work from another lawyer, then they're like, yeah, that's okay. Good tips.
Jeff,
I
the
do have one
funniest part about
question.
that story is the guy was really nice to me.
Well, he called you a nice guy, right?
Oh yeah, it was a very cordial conversation.
Yeah, it wasn't you.
He
It
said,
was
"You're a good
the.
guy. I like talking to you, but we're never doing business."
I get that.
Funniest part
Yeah.
is I changed companies, went back to him, and ended up getting business for that company. He said, "You're not with them anymore? Okay, you didn't sue me. Let's do business."
Yeah. Hey, that's a good thought too. Yeah. The only question I have, you covered everything I was thinking of to ask you, but I was thinking when you're going to go try to talk to someone, what are the initial steps in connecting? Do we send an email, a text? Do we knock on a door?
I'm a
What would
fan
you
of a phone
recommend?
call.
Phone
I'm
call?
a fan of opening up with a phone call first. I really am. And I say that, and we've done videos on prospecting and on the low phone answering ratio and all that. Even if it's just a voicemail, I think that a telephone call allowing them to hear your voice is far more effective than just sending out an email. Everybody sends out emails.
No, I get that.
And
I was just,
that goes back to that fear concept too.
yeah.
Sending out an email is less fear inducing than a phone call because you can't hear somebody ripping you over an email, right? If they don't want to talk to you, they're probably just not going to respond to the email. On the other hand, when you call them, hey, they could turn loose on you. Guess what? That's part of the game.
Hmm.
Pick pick up the damn phone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Troy, good stuff. Appreciate your time and all those
Thank you,
watching.
Jeff.
Think of those lost clients. You never know what could happen.
Exactly. The only thing that awaits you is dollars. Really.
Hmm. All right.
So yeah,
Let's do it.
again, get rid of the fear. I keep emphasizing this, get rid of the fear and go out and do it.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Jeff.